Good day, everyone. So, today we're going to talk about the evolution of transportation and navigation through the years. The foot was the first form of transportation. So, people would go from place to another using their foot. And on 4000 to 3000 BC, this is where the people thought of using animals to transport or to travel. In 3500 BC, the wheels was invented. Wheels were made of solid pieces of wood lashed together to form a circle. 2000 BC, they were made with spokes. Wheels was initially invented for pottery and not for traveling, but people have realized that wheels could be used for easy travel. So in 3100 BC, this is where the sailing boats were invented. They were made of bundles of papyrus reeds tied together. They had simple square sails made of sheets of papyrus or later of linen. So the sailing boat in the ancient times was just very simple. In 2700 BC, wooden ships was used by Egyptians for trade by sea. Ships were also used for transport cargo, fishing, as a type of defense from armed forces.
In early Middle Ages transportation, nor most used a sailing ship. Used for cargo, used the sole square-rigged sail. 14th and 15th century, wagon, a heavy four-wheeled vehicle pulled by draught animals or on occasions by humans. Used for transporting goods, commodities, agricultural materials, supplies, and sometimes people. High Middle Ages, the trade cog had only one mast step sides and a flat bottom which allowed them to settle flatly in harbor, facilitating loading and unloading of cargo. Middle Ages, transportation by both land and sea during this time was integral to the booming economy and majority innovations that resulted in the eras of the Middle Ages.
Good day, everyone. Allow me to discuss with you the development of transportation from the Renaissance period up to the modern times. In the year 1492, Leonardo da Vinci first seriously theorized about the flying machines with over 100 drawings. In 1662, Blaise Pascal invents the first public bus, horse-drawn, regular route, schedule, and fare system. Also, in the year 1783, the first practical steamboat was created, and it was demonstrated by Marquis Claude François de Geoffroy d'Abans with a paddle-wheeled steamboat. And on the same year, the first hot air balloon was invented by Montgolfier brothers. On the year 1790, the first bicycle was invented. On the year 1801, the steam locomotive was invented by Richard Trevithick, and it was only designed for roads. On the year 1862, the first gas engine automobile was invented by John Lenoir, and after 5 years of the invention, the first motorcycle was invented. In the year 1903, the Wright brothers invented and operated the first engine airplane. And on the 1907, the very first modern helicopter was created. In the year 1956, the first hovercraft was invented. The hovercraft is capable of traveling over land, water, mud, ice, and other surfaces. In the year 1964, bullet trains line was opened. It is the first bullet train and it is called the Hikari bullet train. Made its debut with one train departing from Tokyo Station and the other from Shin Osaka Station in Japan. And in 1969, Apollo 11 was the space flight that first landed humans on the moon. In the year 1970, the first flight of the jumbo jet takes place. In the year 1980s, where the Space Shuttle Columbia was the first shuttle to reach space when it was launched by NASA Kennedy Space Center in the year 1981. In 2010, mobile apps and online platforms for finding, planning, and booking affordable public transport was made possible. And also in the year 2020, the CR400BF Fuxinghao running on Beijing Zhangjiakou Intercity Railway is the first high-speed rail service capable of driverless automation in commercial operation. It is also the year where the first commercial flight of hydrogen fuel cell plane was created, and autonomous buses was opened for public transport are being launched around the world after the first such bus started operating for the general public in a Swiss town in 2018.
So next is the navigation. It assisted them in their journeys to unfamiliar and strange areas in the world, and it allowed them to return home after they discovered new places or completed an important trade with another group of people. Well, on the 4000 BC, the first record of large boats to carry goods for trade and marked the birth of natural navigation. In ancient times, 1500 BC, coastal navigator used sounding reed to measure shallow water depths. Viking regularly sailed to Iceland and Greenland using only the sun, stars, and wind as their guide. Next, on the 13th century, mariner's compass, it is an early form of the magnetic compass, can be considered one of the first man-made navigation device. We also have portolan charts, which is the first nautical charts created on sheepskin or goat skin, were rare and very expensive. Next is the 16th century. The chip log was invented and used as the crude speedometer, a line containing knots at regular intervals, and the weight to drag in the water was let out over the stern as the ship was underway.
Then on 1700s, charts of magnetic variations were made available across different parts of the world, which makes the magnetic compass the first valuable navigational tool. Then on 1757, John Bird invented the first sextant. So this instrument is for determining the angle between the horizon and a celestial body. So example, the sun, the moon, or the star. Then on 1764, John Harrison invented the seagoing chronometer. This is used for accurate determination of longitude. Then just on 1800s, wireless telegraphs were made available in ships and allows them to request assistance at sea. Then fast forward to the modern navigation. On 1900s, gyroscopic compass, a non-magnetic compass, was introduced by Elmer Sperry. On 1904, time signals were being sent to ships to allow navigators to check their chronometers. Then on 1935, Robert Watson Watt invented the first radar, which was used to locate objects beyond the range of vision by projecting radio waves against them. Then on 1940, LORAN, or the long-range navigation, was developed in the US during 1940s. This uses pulse radio transmissions from master and slave stations.
To continue, in 1957, scientists at Johns Hopkins University's Applied Physics Laboratory tracked the first artificial satellite, which is Sputnik, and inspired the invention of GPS, which is the Global Positioning System. In 1973, Pentagon proposed the Navstar GPS system. Later, after 1978, first 11 Navstar GPS satellites are launched into space. In 1980s, particularly in 1983, President Reagan lets all civilian commercial aircraft use GPS system to improve air navigation safety. In 1989, Magellan releases the Magellan NAV 1000 to become the first to sell a handheld navigation device. Next, in the 2000s, particularly in the year 2000, President Clinton lifts selective availability on GPS usage for civilians like military. In 2005, Google Maps debut. In 2009, Foursquare launches, helping further popularize geolocation review and reward services. In 2015, Facebook begins licensing location-based data from Factual, a geodata platform. So navigators at sea today are more likely to remain below deck at a computerized navigation station than on deck observing the stars. How easy is our travel in today's transportation and navigation? Yet, we mustn't forget our past so that we will not be lost in our journeys.